The gradient, the gradient. Welcome back. We're looking at the gradient tool, or we want to look at the gradient tool. Okay, now the way you find your gradient tool, it's right here under or in the same area as your paint bucket. Click there, click and hold rather, and there you have your gradient tool. Now remember, the shortcut to the gradient tool is the letter G. Let's get our notes here. Okay, the gradient tool paint bucket. There we go. Let's do this. The shortcut. Let's copy this. I'm getting a little bit lazy here. Okay, shortcut for, let's say, gradient. Gradient tool is the letter G. Gradient tool as well as paint bucket. Okay, so the gradient tool and paint bucket. Okay, is the letter G. Okay, that's your shortcut. So say you're on your move tool and you want to get to your gradient tool quickly, just go ahead and click G. Okay, let's grab our gradient tool and let's open up a new file. File, new, and let's just say, okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, now our gradient tool, let's look at this. Okay, our gradient tool will default to our foreground and background color. If you look right here at the top, because I have the gradient tool selected, you see the gradient right here. Okay, now it's referencing the foreground and the background. In other words, if I take my gradient tool, this is the gradient tool. It's you see crosshairs. I click, hold, and drag. That line would be the direction of the gradient. Say I wanted the gradient to be straight, or I wanted to make this line straight. I'll hold down the shift key and it will constrain the line so that it doesn't go, either left or right, or nor diagonally. It'll just go vertical. There we go. Now look at that gradient. Okay, so it's going from white to black, and that gradient. Okay, let's Control Z. Say if I took the gradient tool, click and dragged up, hold down the shift key. See, so white, it's down here, and the gradient black, or gradient, and then black is up here. Control Z. Let's click and drag and go here. You get the idea? Okay. Now, you can also select your own colors for your gradient. Say, for example, let's take black and let's change it to red in our color picker. Okay, so now we have from red to white. Let's see. Okay. Also, you can take your background color as well as your foreground color. And let's select a yellow. Okay, so now we have, how about that? Okay, that's the gradient tool. Now, also know that you do have presets of gradients. If you come up to this gradient bar up here and you see this little down arrow, click there, and here are your other options for gradients. You could select any of those. Let's select that. Okay, Control Z. Let's do another one. Okay, Control Z. Whoa, how about that? Control Z. And let's see. Let's go diagonally. Wow. That's pretty neat. So you could use these presets for your gradient options also. Okay, let me show you something really quickly. In our presets, understand this. On the preset, as we look at the preset, know that this first gradient is your foreground to background. So whatever colors you have here, that is that first preset. Okay, and then the second preset is your foreground to transparency, meaning from a color to no color. Okay, so whatever color your foreground is, meaning this color right here, that's what color you'll have as a foreground color going to no color. For example, let's create a new layer here. Okay, and in the new layer, let's turn off our bottom layer. Okay, so we have a transparency here. Okay, now, and we're on the transparency here. And let's just make a gradient. See how it goes from red to transparency. Okay, Control Z. Okay, let's change that now to yellow. The foreground is yellow. And if you notice up here, the foreground is yellow going to transparency. So you're kind of getting the idea of what's going on here with the transparent foreground going to transparency, and then the actual colors foreground and the background right here. The first one being that option. Okay, so say you want to make your own custom gradient. Let's go. Let's do that. Take the foreground. Let's get a blue. Okay, I'll take that blue. And the background, let's get a different blue. Okay, that blue. Okay, there we have it. Okay, let's change it up here. Right here. Okay. I like that. Let's get rid of this layer. Okay, so say you wanted to keep this this gradient. Okay, so you could go right here, bring up your gradient presets, this little arrow or this little diamond right there. You click there and you say new gradient. Okay, and so we'll name this Jay's Blue. Click OK, and there you have it right there. Okay, so those are the some of the different shapes that we could use with our gradient. And for more information, more training on the gradient, you might want to check out the video Gradient Editor, the Gradient Editor video training tutorial. Okay, that's all we're going to do in this video tutorial. I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Take care and bye for now.